Okay, everyone. Welcome to Reindeer. Let's talk about this deck. So, what's to say about this one? This is an interesting specimen, I must say. They attack a lot, from what I have found. They cannot make very large columns, from what I have found. Triggers make them very sad when your opponent puts it on their Vanguard. This deck also has some severe consistency issues. But when it works, it is absolutely hilarious on how many times you can continue to attack when you should not be able to. So, we're just going to start with the grade 3 since they're sitting here right now. We are playing 4 Peaceful Voice Reindeer, the new remake of Reindeer. What she does is, I need to read her, she actually is pretty bad on Vanguard. Choose a card from your hand, put it into your soul. When your drive check reveals a grade 3 card, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your vanguards, return one of your rear guards. You can bounce your vanguards to your hand too if you're cool like that. Return it to your hand, and then if there's a card named Reindeer in your soul or trigger zone, it gets an additional drive check. So, the triple drive is nice. I won't say that. I will agree with that. If you have a Velvet Voice Reindeer in your hand, you can put it in your soul and attain the triple drive. So, that's nice. You don't get to call anything though, so you don't get to remake your columns by bounce call. Her other skill is Counterblast 2. At the end of your battle, let your drive check revealed a card with Reindeer in its name. If she's standing, you may pay the cost. If you do, move her to Vanguard Circle and she gets drive check -1. So, not bad again, bit Counterblast heavy, but there's still a lot I need to learn about how to use this card. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of this deck. It's a little difficult to figure out. And then the other card that I'm using is for Velvet Voice Reindeer. This one's nice and simple. When your drive check reveals a grade 3 card, bounce a unit to your hand, call a unit. So if you hit like 2 grade 3 cards in your drive checks, you can bounce 2 units and call 2 units, and that's a new column. So that's not bad. I prefer having her on Vanguard at the moment just because I know how to use her better and she kind of fits how I want to play the deck. But I do recommend 4 and 4 at the moment. Possibly maybe using Loris or something as a secondary, but you do want to see your reindeers. My phone is buzzing. Excellent. Let's go to the grade 0s. So we are playing 2 copies of your starter, Colorful Smiling Frat. What she does is, after she's done boosting an attack, if you have a Vanguard with Reindeer in her name, you bounce 1 unit to your hand, choose 2 units from your hand, call them to separate rear guards. This is literally half the reason why I like this deck, because this is basically new column for 1 counterblast and restructuring things. So like if you had something sitting on the field, and we'll just say whatever it was attacked, and you've got a Spica on board, you can like bounce that unit, call a new unit that can hit on its own, call a unit behind your Spica, and then swing with that unit, swing with the Spica, do that again. Again, this whole deck just seems to be all about how many unnecessary extra attacks can I get that I should not be allowed to get. It's pretty fun. Again, but I still believe it does have some problems. That's just me. Trigger lineup, this one's a bit awkward. I'm playing a type of trigger that you don't ever see in Bermudas. So 4 heals. No one likes heals. Heals are stupid. Look at those. Those are duo heals. I am a badass, aren't I? So again, if you're a badass, you play 0 heals, but I play 4 because survival is fun. And then we are actually playing 6 stand triggers. The draw triggers are okay, but the problem that I was running into is that I would be drawing into the grade 3 cards that I want to drive check. So I was like, well, maybe I don't do the draw triggers. Maybe I focus on massive amounts of stands and crits so that I can get a bunch of extra attacks that I should not be allowed to get. So again, Dreamer Crook is pretty much the king of Queen, because Bermudas are women's, queen of extra attacks for Bermuda Triangle triggers, solely because it's like, oh look, I'm boosted. Oh, she's in Harmony. Okay, back to the deck. Okay, now I get to bounce and call. That's pretty nice. And then, if I do want to draw cards, I'm using the new, the box fell. The new Bermuda stand, which is like when she's in Harmony, put her into your soul, draw a card, power up a rear guard by 2k. So technically this could actually work with the whole Colorful Smiling Frat, or like, what are you called? You're called Spica. So like you could put her into your soul, but it has to be main phase, so maybe it doesn't work that way. But again, 6 stands is because like extra attacks are nice in this deck. Let me know what you think about my trigger lineup once you see the rest of it. I don't know. I think 6 stands works in theory, and that's about it so far. It's kind of nice to see the stand triggers on the drive checks, though. 6 crits is pretty self-explanatory. Look, more duo crits. Oh, yes. But yeah, I'm just running 6 crits because you got to, like, I don't think draws are too necessary in this deck. So grade 1 lineup is, this has to be a 4 of. We are playing 4 copies of the Dash Sisters Rabble. So when she's in your trigger zone, she counts as a grade 3. And then if she's on rear guard, whenever you drive check a grade 3, you put her on the bottom of your deck, draw a card, countercharge 1, shuffle your deck. Other way around, but still. So she's useful. You do want to play 4 because then you go from running 8 grade 3s to suddenly 16. So that increases your chance of you seeing a grade 3, which is very nice. And you don't have to run a bunch of unnecessary grade 3s that you don't want. Although something I would like would be if I can figure out how to implement like a Legion, maybe the Dream Team Legion as a secondary or something, that would be nice. Only problem again is that it's not Reindeer support. So sad. 4 PGs. This is literally just because I didn't have any other PGs. Those can easily be replaced by Kukuri or Ellie, so it really doesn't matter what your PGs are. So just play 4 because dying sucks. Here's one card I'm actually debating on just completely cutting. Piping Hot Suifa. I believe that's how it's pronounced. She stands herself if there's nothing in front of her, and then she gains the number, what's the power, 4,000, so that puts her to an 11k attacker, which is nice. However, I keep getting this feeling like I think there could be something else I could use instead of her. Like, if I put some more Harmony shit in the deck, suddenly Celebrate Voice Loris becomes a little more viable, and it's like, well, I can actually use her, and that might be more helpful than extra attacks. As it currently stands, once again, as I said, I'm still learning this deck, so still figuring out what the hell to do here. She's not bad though if she's by herself, but she has to be by herself, so you need other cards to do things. And because your because Suifa and Rabble don't really give a crap if your Vanguard's grade 3 or grade 4, you might as well play the Stride Enabler just so you have access to stuff like Olivia and Somni for a bunch of extra attacks. So again, even if you hit, the triple drive just increased the chance of you hitting one of your grade 3 cards, so that's kind of nice. Grade 2s. Where are they? This needs to be a 4 of. You should play 4 of her because she's on hit pressure. So when she hits, if you have a Vanguard with Reindeer in your name, you Soul Blast 1 and then you draw 2 cards and then put her on the bottom of your deck. It's fucking amazing. You should totally play 4 of her because again, on hit pressure is best pressure. So yeah. Next card is, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention one more thing. When she's in your trigger zone, she counts as a grade 3. That's important, because that's part of your 16 grade 3s. Second card is the Unbelievable Girl Papori. Again, more on-hit pressure. If you're at Stride, she hits, and she's in Harmony, or even if she hits, just bounce a unit. If she's in Harmony, you choose a unit from hand, call it. So again, the whole gimmick here was just like, oh, okay, if you're going to guard this a lot, well then I'm going to like make sure that I attack with her a lot. So then I get to draw cards. Cards are good. This works a lot better in theory than it does in practice because the whole if she hits thing is the whole opponent just like, I'm going to let her hit thing. And then it's like, oh, I got 2 free cards, but I feel sad now. So, I don't know. Papori is still good because on-hit pressure is important in this deck, in my opinion. And then 3 Spica because it's fucking Spica and you should play 3 Spica. Bias! Love it! Jumping to the Stride deck. Stride deck. Playing 2 Somni. Why? Because she basically does the same thing as Papori does. And again, on-hit pressure. It's beautiful. So if you have like everything where it can just like do something if it hits, then all of a sudden it's like, well, my opponent has to guard all these attacks if they don't want any of my on-hit skills to go off. So that's pretty good. And you play 2 because really there's, in terms of how Reindeer plays, there's very limited amounts of grade 3s that aren't called Olivia that really facilitate how the deck plays. Can we get like a Stride or something, Bushiroad? That'd be cool. I want a Reindeer Stride. That'd be interesting. I may actually play the deck. Probably gonna like take this apart a little bit and make corals or something. Just because I can't think of how to make Reindeer work. Elprina, because she was in the thing from the Pacifica deck and I was too lazy to take her out. Like, really, you don't touch your G-Zone much in this deck. The only thing you really should be using is Somni, so just play 4 of it or something and then play 4 Olivia. Again, this was tough to figure out a G-Zone for, so I kind of just got lazy with it. But honestly, though, Sirius like completely serious. If you like, this is probably what you should have is Olivia's and Somni's, because on hit and Olivia's just amazing. Mine. Dismal. Because Dismal. I got no reason here. I don't have a case for why you have Dismal in your deck, just because room. Yes. 2 Leona, 2 Nasha. Bermuda Triangle G-Guards. Again, this, you don't really need to G-Zone in this deck. It's nice to have. That's why I've got the Stride Enablers, because you get the triple drive, but really as long as you have something that has a triple drive and maybe has like a skill. I think I would honestly run maybe 3 or 4 Somni in this deck solely because it's got an on-hit skill, and then you can just go, lol, if I hit you, I get to bounce and call, and if I get to bounce and call, that means I get to keep attacking. So if I were to bounce call, that means that if I've got something like, where the fuck is she? Where are you actually? If I've got something like her, that means I get new columns, and if everything can have an on-hit effect or a bounce call, that means I just keep attacking you until you hit a trigger and then I cry. End of story. But yeah, that was my Reindeer deck. Mixed thoughts on how well this deck honestly plays in the end. I like it, it's kind of cool, but there's very, very glaring problems with it as a whole. As usual, and if you have any suggestions about the deck or any recommendations, which I guess would be the same thing as suggestions, just let me know what your thoughts are on the deck in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys in the next video where I do Bermuda Triangle things. Yay! See ya!